Hello, my name is Yolanda and welcome back to my channel. You've seen these before because you definitely, and I mean definitely, watched part 1 of my eyeshadow declutter. These are my fixed pan palettes. Now, for part 2. Part 2 are my removable magnetic palettes. I realized in order to do the ranking that I wanted to do with all of these eyeshadows that I had to split them up because I couldn't make up my mind as to what was what in my preference realm. Then I realized that I had 2 very different eyeshadow collections. Ones that lived within their own universe. They don't travel outside. I can use them in conjunction with my singles, and I have done that before. I can use them paired up. But what I can't do is take them with me when I travel. What I do with my magnetic pans is now all of your business. Right here we have the Collidos Futurism 4 VR Neon. These are my brights. They're the only ones that I have. But this doesn't get a ton of use in my collection. That's why she's at the bottom, but the shadows are lovely. I love this packaging. It feels luxe. It's a high-end palette from a high-end brand, but it is kind of reminiscent of my prettiest palettes. Next up, we have Bare Necessities from Colourpop. Listen. Colourpop is out here looking for world domination, okay? It's been years since I've been even remotely interested in a Colourpop palette. Ulta got me with 40% off. And these lovelies. The pictures do not do these shadows justice. I'm not even sure if the camera does these shadows justice. The top 2 rows are light to medium, but they show up and they have tonal variety. You've got beiges in here, but some of these shimmers are a little pink based. They're beautiful. Brand spanking new, even though she looks worn, but this is just from swatching. So I could have cleaned her up, but what's going to happen the next time I open this up? I'm going to get to swatching again. The shadows apply wonderfully. They are on the creamier side. That's fine with me because I don't do a ton of blending anyway. I explained in my last video about warm-toned neutral. So this is from Viseart. And this is one of the very few pure neutral palettes that I have. It's all matte. And every last one of these shadows, regardless of the tone they are, disappear into my skin tone. That's why I prefer neutrals or cool tones. But the palette, the shadows in here are lovely and they work. And if I was into a ton of blending, this would be higher up in the list. But seeing as I'm not, here she sits near the bottom. But like I said, none of these are bad shadows, and I can plug and play with these. You can remove these easily. And this is a palette which is for the neutral lover. I love half neutral and half colorful palettes. The pop of blue in here does that for you, but I'm actually more interested in the pink. Another Viseart palette. This is the Theory palette. You don't hear about these. This is the Theory Minx. These are very pretty. It gives you that sophisticated look. I like these. These have traveled around the world with me. Next up is Smoke Sessions from Melt Cosmetics. She is new to me. I waited until they fixed the formula. And once I heard that the formula was okay, I got myself a grungy green palette of my dreams. Isn't she pretty? Okay, I'm going to cop to having this for a few months and not having used it, but your day is coming. Your day is coming soon. Oh, my nerdy little heart. My nerdy little heart. Who wasn't into Egypt when they were a kid? This is the Amunet new from Adept Cosmetics. She is glorious. This is a little different from Adept Cosmetics. There are 6 mattes, 3 multi-chrome shifty shadows in here. That's a duochrome. Nepthys is a beautiful, beautiful green. Osiris all over the lid. She's new to me. I live that pre-order life. I am old enough to remember when things took 6 to 8 weeks to ship to us. So pre-order life is not a problem for me. Worth the wait. I think we're in the teens now. This is the Hydrant Palette. This is a beautiful purple palette with a tealy blue duochrome and a green. This is a fantastic blurple. I was 5 seconds away from buying the Huda palette. This one is better. This is also the dark version because, well, I like the mattes in here. I don't mind it. And you got pink purpley goodness. ACI 21. Okay, so this is taking it to the extreme. It took 6 months. It took 6 months. Butte Bean X Shroud. It's freaking bats. I like Betty Jean as a creator, and I love this palette. This green here, a little on the bile side. Same thing with Handbook here. Yeah, I waited a very, very long time for this palette. Again, not sorry, not disappointed. This is Lethal Cosmetics with Teresa is Dead, my favorite garbage person besides myself. Lethal is Dead, and she is the sister companion. She's a little bit lighter, but still as sparkly and beautiful as the It's Freaking Bats palette. Do I need both? No. Do I have both? Yes. They go together. Look at that. And this is just a little deeper in contrast. Look at the sisters. Okay, we have a trio coming up. Some of my favorite things. The only reason why this is down on the list again, newer to me. I got them when they were released, but it's been a busy fall, winter travel season for me, so I have not sat down to play with these properly. But my daughter tortured me. I didn't upload, and she made me put 2 of them in the makeup purgatory and left one out, and it drove me insane. She knows how to get to me. This is the Sydney Grace and Temptalia collaboration. I've got a lot of collab palettes here. I'm not mad at you. Look at this. Now, people said you don't need all 3. I needed all 3, okay? I needed all 3. This is the Radiant Reflection palette. Now, when I look at these, I see my favorite superheroes from the MCU. I can recreate any of the costumes and do looks. Everyday cosplay is what I'm going to be into for the 22. Like 2022, it's going to get a little weird. I'm going to do MCU characters, and these are my palettes. Stunning. So you've got your mauve corner over there. Then you got blue, green, and gold. Gorgeous. For me, and what I like to do with my eyeshadow, I did need all 3. You know why? Because I have 50 other Sydney Grace singles, and now I have 36 more. Now, I was rude. I was rude to Sydney Grace when I explained my affinity for this brand, and I said, oh, you know what? These are my worker shadows, and some of them really are. Mattes are phenomenal, but there are some special shades in the Sydney Grace collection. These are jewel toned. They have contrast across the palettes. I want to rearrange these. I want to play with them. I want to take them out and pair them with other things. I love having them. So you have Radiant Reflection on the horizon and Quintessence. They are great Sydney Grace quality. There is enough variation for me in this palette to do this palette selection to do a whole bunch of different things. Oh. You have Collidos Futurism 3 Astro Pink. Again, luxurious feel. This is cardboard packaging, but it has a soft, I don't know, like almost velvety feel to it. The metal accents. These palettes have gone across the world with me. These palettes have been to Prague. I can barely spell Prague. Starting our top 10 countdown, we have the Collidos Futurism 2 Cyber Bronze palette. That is an amazing silver. I love that in the outer corner. This is stunning rose bronze. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful palette. Unexpected. Asks you to imagine different worlds and do different things. I get excited about these palettes still after all of this time. Melt. She's in Parties. Started my love affair. The Moves. I lost my mind when I saw Natasha Denona's retro palette. And then I had to rein myself back in because this is the edited version of that with the stunning gold there on the end. But you have light, medium, and dark mauvey tones here. The shades here behave. I don't have all of the melt palettes. Listen, I listen to my favorite YouTubers when they talk about their eyeshadows. And when I hear hit or miss or hit and miss, I kind of skip a lot of those palettes. But this beauty, no one had anything bad to say about her. I don't have anything bad to say about her. These are quality shadows. They do well. And look at the packaging. So very pretty. This was my very first Lethal palette, but inside we have the Koi from Vizia. I have technical difficulties. I destroyed the packaging. The shadows survived unscathed. Yeah, any damage I did here was from applying or using these. There are some iridescent shades here. No one liked the Vizia shimmers. And now it is 2021 and we are all about iridescent shades. There's a bunch of duochromes in here. I think they're the precursor. This formula is a precursor for all of our favorite iridescent shifty shades. Stunning. If you watched part 1, you saw a lot of half neutral with like pops of green. My colorful palettes live here. The shimmers here. In my palettes with magnetic pans, my favorite Collidos Futurism palette. This is the first one. This is Sci-Fi Green. Again, easy for travel. These shades all pop out. That black, if you've heard about it before, is the truth. These palettes are more versatile than they look with only 6 pans in them, but they do tell a complete story. This is my favorite Vizia Theory palette. This is Chroma. Grayscale. I'm going to match the shimmers up from the melt stacks to see if they are the same. If they are the same, then I'll probably end up decluttering the melt stacks aren't going to stay the way that they are. I'm going to find the dupes that I have for them and make one single stack out of all of those. But this has also gone around the world. Tiny, perfect for travel. Ye old smoky eye. This bish. Codaine. This is the hero. I had Plain Jane. My daughter absconded with her. I gave it to her, but still, she left. She's on the East Coast with Plain Jane. I have to tell myself each time that I have enough single shadows and repetitive shadows to not pick that up again. I'm not a completionist. It's okay, I think. But Codaine, that's my color story right there. That ACI 32 is a pinker dupe to the rose gold green shift that's in the Pat McGrath. This is green gold, and it looks more like deep burgundy in the pan, but when you swatch it, it is a very lovely magenta color. ACI 27 is also a multi-chrome. I just like looking at her. I do use her, but like, it's my favorite of the Adept Cosmetics. Now we hit our top 4. If you were here for part one of the eyeshadow declutter, then you know how I feel about Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath. And or versus, I did a ranking video, but this is My number 4 palette is Natasha Denona Leela. These are the worker shadows of my collection. This really is pinks and neutrals if you cover up that purple right there. This is more on the mauve side, and these are pink. This neutral here is actually like pink based, so it looks like a pinky brown. The same here in a deeper register. Per se, I think is the name of the shade. This was my first Natasha Denona palette. I plug and play with these all the time, and I use it as a standalone palette. Amazing. Then we have the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I wanted this palette for so long. On 3 separate occasions, I went to Sephora, had them do a whole face of makeup for me in the before times. And people like talking to me in general, but if I have eyeshadow on, conversations, everybody wanted to know what I had on my eyes. These are neutrals, like neutrals with stunning golds and coppers in here. This is a gold green topper shade. It's beautiful, beautiful. Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. Not everybody loved this palette. I love this palette. You have your grungy greens, but this is a copper palette with greens and blues in it. It is amazing. It is amazing. Remove these pans. One of my favorite activities is to dupe Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes using the shades from Natasha Denona. These are out of order, I know, but I play in my number 2, 3, and 4 palettes the most. And my favorite Natasha Denona palette. Don't call me base. These are warm neutrals, but mostly shiny. Mostly shiny. There's only one bad shade in here, rhodium. I don't know. She's a dud. But all of the rest are stunning and spectacular. There is a red base to some of these coppers. Deep Dive, well, whatever is in Deep Dive, I don't think that's actually Deep Dive. Gloaming, True Copper, some of my favorites. A lot of these are one and dones for me, but add a little. Okay, Deep Dive this is Deep Dive right here. So like I need to switch some of them. Deep Dive here, I use this as a liner all the time. Deepens all of my outer corners. It's a cream powder formula. The textures in here, amazing. The finish in here, the shines, high shine skin-like finish. I can get from 4 of those shades. Spectacular. So this was harder than doing the first one because I just knew. I knew Mother Pat was going to win out. I'm into my palettes, which also double as singles. I can do combinations of things. Anytime I want a palette, it doesn't matter what brand it is, I pull out my magnet and I get to swatching things out, testing them up against other things. And I have travel palettes, my Salt New York travel palettes. I'll pop an entire dupe palette in there based on shades from all of these palettes. These bring me and spark joy. They playtime for adults. This is my complete. But the last year I only purchased, so nothing has to leave here. All of these shadows are spectacular. They're good quality. I've been studying and I found my groove. So if I buy any palettes, I have to check it against what I already have. Eventually some of these are going to go bad, and I'm a bird. I'm going to buy more palettes. I know that I am. I love eyeshadow, but this helps me keep my palette collection to where I am comfortable. And I know what I have, what the details of the things that I have are. And if you have 50 palettes, 25 palettes, 5 palettes, or 100 palettes, I want to know. I want to know, how many palettes do we have out there? Am I the only makeup goblin out here? No, I know I'm not, because I watch declutter videos all of the time. With that, until next time, I will see you shortly. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. I hope this was fun and entertaining for you. If you would, please like, comment, and subscribe.